Hello everybody, hello Sticky Slug, and welcome to the first ever episode of Dan Chat. Hello everybody. We're just gonna put these on in the background. Those beats are gonna vibe in the back. But basically, Dan Chat, this is a new thing that I've wanted to start doing for a while. I asked on Twitter if you guys were tired of this just chatting category, and you guys said no, go ahead, make a just chatting show, and I was like, yeah, sure, let's go for it, let's go ahead. So we're going to be doing that today, and so let's get started on what's going to be occurring today on the first episode of Dan Chat. So, on the first episode of Dan Chat today, we're going to be talking about, thank you Sticky Slug. Yeah, just chatting today. So we're going to be talking about my wishes for Tekken 8 is the first thing. Thank you Sticky Slug. Bless up to you. My wishes for Tekken 8 is going to be the first thing. Second thing. Well, I'll see how long this lasts, Cars, and then we'll see. But Dan Chat. So we're going to be talking about, first of all, my wishes for Tekken 8. Second of all, some thoughts on Guilty Gear Strive. I've wanted to talk about this for a little bit now. We're going to be talking about the Yu-Gi-Oh market, snowballing, game design, bad balance in the secondary market, and why Pokemon is potentially so much better in the secondary market than Yu-Gi-Oh is. Yes, hello Ark, hello Cars. We're going to be talking about the big three: Magic the Gathering, Pokemon TCG, and Yu-Gi-Oh, and why other games get overlooked and why we need to build a community around them, and how I built my own. And how this can also apply to other games in the FGC. We're going to be talking about turn timers and game timers in TCGs, the gap, or accessibility to TCGs and FGCs, and then finally we're going to be looking at the TCG versus recap, mana versus no mana, and ban list versus rotation. Another look a year later. So we'll get started. Hello to everyone in chat. We got a lot of viewers today. Right. We got a lot of viewers today. Hello Otter, hello Cars, hello Alex, hello Ark, hello everybody. So we're going to be getting started with, first of all, my wishes for Tekken 8. So we're just going to zoom in a bit here. Hello everybody. So let's first of all get started with my wishes for Tekken 8. So one thing that I've been playing Tekken 7 for a really long time now, and assume Eddie Gordo buff is the big wish. Actually, no. I don't mind Eddie in his current state, but my first huge wish for Tekken 8 absolutely has to be trying to get sidestepping back. Good heavy sidestepping. So that's my first thing. Number one, I want good sidestepping. Sidestepping in this game, if I can actually type. Sidestepping in Tekken 7 is not the best. And that's because it takes about 14 sidesteps to get around the opponent. Whereas in things like Tekken 3 and Tekken 4, you took about maybe 4 or 5 sidesteps and you could get around the entire opponent. So I really would like some good buffed sidestepping in Tekken 8. If you're playing a 3D fighting game, you're playing a 3D fighting game for the sidesteps. And that's one big thing I want. And I'm actually enjoying some other fighting games today, like these days. I'm enjoying like Dead or Alive, and I'm so excited for the new Virtua Fighter to even like have an inkling of that, because good sidestepping, dude. I just prefer them so much more just because of that one thing. Literally because of that one thing. So yeah, first thing, good sidestepping. My second wish is basically I don't want every move to be tracking. Every move is tracking in this game, and I want thought to go into choosing an option that is tracking. I want thought to go into, so you're gonna bust down my door for even saying those words. I know. But basically, in old Tekkens, there were moves that tracked to the left and to the right. And that was such a big part of the game in general. Choosing your option to punish a sidestep. And so I really want to take off a lot of tracking moves. So a ton of tracking moves. Because basically right now, what's happening is that almost every move in the game tracks in some way. It's absolutely insane how much like tracking there is in this game. So yeah, I definitely want to take off a ton of tracking moves and put some thought into when you're going to use them and have them as a specific option rather than just throwing out a move when someone sidesteps. My final thing, I think, you get 3 wishes from a genie. I'm going to get 3 wishes for Tekken 8. And my third wish is definitely going to be remove some characters. The roster is definitely bloated. It's like so bloated. And there are so many characters in this game that you can't really almost learn specific matchups. You just kind of gotta play Tekken and like learn the feel of it as you go. And that's not really something I personally like doing. But I know some people just like doing that. But I think the roster is so bolstered, we need to remove some characters. And because of that, I have created a tier list if it loads up. There we go. So we've got has to be in Tekken 8, don't mind, they're fine, I guess, and in the bin. So you have the 3 wishes, but what's like the 3 things you think will come back or like be added in Tekken 8 at my misery? I don't mind Rage Arts that much. Like, I don't like the fact that they have a move connotated to them. But Rage in general, I'm kind of fine with, because it was fine in Tekken 6. Because it just gave you extra speed and a little bit more damage. So I'm fine with a comeback mechanic. I'm just like, yeah, maybe having a move added to it is a bit much. But we're going to do this little thing right now, to maybe try and cut off like some of the roster, because I think actually maybe even half the roster needs to be split off. There's just way too many characters in this game. So we're just going to start off with some of the classics. Obviously, Heihachi, Kazuya, Jin, absolutely have to be in Tekken 8. Mishima family, Mishima storyline, have to be in the game. Next up, we're going to put Akuma. Akuma is going in the bin. Like, I genuinely think Akuma shouldn't be in the game. Like, you're playing a 3D fighting game. Heihachi is 6 foot deep in lava, though. True. And you wouldn't mind Heihachi going? That's true as well. Like, that's fine. But, Akuma has to get out of the game. Like, they've sort of managed to shoehorn him in there in the story somehow. For no reason whatsoever. And one of the things I like most about Tekken is that there's no meter. And by adding Akuma into the game, you've added meter into a game where previously there wasn't any. Like, why? You didn't need to do that. The gameplay is good enough itself. You don't need to add another layer of complexity to it into, oh, I need to respect this guy's meter. Like, Akuma's a Street Fighter character. He's a 2D character in a 3D fighting game, and he's almost made the game 2D. And, yeah. Just get rid of him. Doesn't need to be there. Lars has to be in the next game. They tried doing something with him in Tekken 6 in terms of the storyline. They tried to like put him into this kind of Mishima saga type thing, and it just didn't work. Like, why does he have almost no story here? Like, if you've committed or put in a game that this guy is going to be part of the Mishima storyline, then why in Tekken 7 have you removed him from that almost? Like, there's no reason for him to be removed from that, and so he absolutely needs to be in Tekken 8, and they need to try and get him back into that story somehow. Obviously, we have the El Clasicos, Alyssa, Hwoarang, Devil Jin, Dragunov, you know, Paul, Law, you know, Bob. You got the Brian there. You got Steve, Nina, Lily, Asuka, Zhao Yu, Feng, Leo, Eddie. You know, they all absolutely have to be in the game. King, sorry, Kuma, Panda, you know, those characters absolutely have to be in the game because they're just so prominent in the Tekken franchise. Oh, that's in, has to be in Tekken 8. I think Akuma is pretty sick in terms of combo game. I think the damage Tekken 7 just made him have so many tools. I think he's sick. I think he's fine. I just think that he doesn't fit into Tekken. I don't want him in the game. He's a Street Fighter character, like, in the Tekken franchise. I don't think he needs to be there, you know? But yeah, all of these characters, they have to come into Tekken 8. You know, they're pretty cool. Yoshi has been in the Tekken franchise for a little while, and I feel like he needs to come along as well. Obviously, gonna be a part of that. Jack 7, I think, also needs to go in there. Prefer Akuma Juggles and Tekken? That's fair enough. Jack has to come along, maybe not as Jack 7, but maybe as a different Jack, you know? Should be fine. Next up, Geese Howard, in the bin, one-off character, like, genuinely a one-off character that is in this game, doesn't need to be in the next one. It can get put in the bin and his stage is whack, so, like, bum him off. Noctis, again, Final Fantasy 15. I like the soy sauce music. I like the music. Noctis. He probably doesn't need to be in the game by then. As we know, Harada said, it's going to be a while before we even have an inkling of what Tekken 8 is going to be. Or when it's going to be. Probably Final Fantasy 16 is coming out before then. So Noctis probably doesn't need to be in Tekken 8, obviously. Next up, I actually don't mind Fackelman. They're fine. I have no attachment to this character. I feel like with a couple of fixes, they're gonna be okay. Like, I enjoy the design of the character. I enjoy how the character plays. I just feel like a bit too strong at the moment. I feel like Fact can, you know, stay in. I feel like pretty cool character. You know? I like it. Ganryu. Come up there, buddy. Fucking Mac. Apologist pointing. I know. I'm saying with some fixes. Ganryu, you have to come along, buddy. He's just such a fun character. I don't know what I love about him, but he's just such a fun little character. Next up, we're gonna bring in Leroy. I want them to give Leroy another go so badly. I want Leroy to come along and like be cool so badly. Like, I feel like the idea is perfect for this character. Like, absolutely perfect. The execution, maybe they didn't do it perfectly. I feel like once they get Leroy just a little, they fix him up a little bit, bang. character is going to be one of the coolest Tekken characters out there. Love it. Love the idea. Next up, we have Katarina. Another character I'm really kind of about. Like, fine, cool character, does the sweeps and things. Like, she can come along, but I don't really have an attachment to her, and I don't think many people do. One person I think does have an attachment to the character, like CSC. Big British Katarina player. Like, I feel like... Counterpoint, Booba, sure. But I don't think that many people are really, like, attached to this character. She doesn't really have that much of a semblance of story. And, you know, it's kind of for me. Next up, can we put Lucky Chloe in the bin, please? Just absolutely needs to be removed from the fucking game. Like, please. I understand what they tried to do, right? I feel like their understanding was, oh hey, let's make this cool mashup character in between Eddie and Lily. Let's mix to the gymnastics and the dancing, and let's mash it together, and let's make this character. Okay, pretty okay idea. Why did they design her like that, first of all? Second of all, why is she better than the characters that she's trying to portray? Like, you're trying to give Lucky Chloe some of Eddie's moves, some of Lily's moves. Like, sure, that's fine. Why is she better than them both combined? Like, sure, maybe put them in between, maybe put that character in between the two. But there's just no need. Like, Gigas, you can come along, buddy. Like, you're fine. You're fine. I enjoy the Gigas. I really like the Gigas players that stick to this character. And I feel like if Gigas comes along, Katarina also has to come along, because there's definitely a storyline there. But, like, I really like Gigas, but I don't know. I feel like there could be something more to him than just, I'm Big Red Man, you know? There needs to be something more there, for me. Because I don't feel like I've connected with him yet. Like, I don't feel like he needs to be in Tekken. Whereas all these characters up here, I'm like, oh yeah, absolutely. If I don't see these guys on the character select screen, like, is it even a Tekken game? But I guess the people down here, I don't really mind if they're not in Tekken 8, because then I'm like, oh, okay, I'm not gonna miss them, you know. Next up, we're gonna do Kazumi, and Kazumi is another character that's, for me, I don't mind fine, I guess. A lot of people have been stuck on this character right now, and I feel like a lot of people like this character, and she's good in the Mishima Saga, but I feel like she's had a go. She's had a storyline in this game, and I don't think there's much of a need for this character to come back. Like, sure, they did something cool with her storyline. That's fine. We understand why Kazuya is the way he is, because Kazumi has the Devil Gene. But, like, for me, I wouldn't mind, like, I feel like if I opened up Tekken 8 and I didn't see Kazumi on the character select screen, I wouldn't be surprised. Shaheen's another one of those characters for me. I feel like the character's really, really, really cool. They just didn't get the execution there. Like, I feel like Shaheen's so cool, could be so, so cool. I barely see anyone playing this character. Look, Warren, Warren, Warren. Okay. I promise it's fine. Okay, so Shaheen. I feel like Shaheen is such a cool character. They just didn't get anyone invested. I don't think anyone's invested in Shaheen. I feel like people think Shaheen's a cool character, and once in a while people are gonna people are gonna see him, but right now I like the idea behind him. They just need to like get people to play him. They need to get people to play him. And that's all. Next up, Kunimitsu. I feel like Kunimitsu needs to come to Tekken 8. I really like Kunimitsu. Kunimitsu's cool as hell. People are playing her. She's like a new take on this game. I really love it. I really love it. I really love Kunimitsu in this game. Awesome. Awesome character. Absolutely has to come along. Has changed the game up, has cool ass cross-ups. Like, really cool. I really like it. They banged it with Kunimitsu. Love it. Love it, love it, love it. Let's go. Next up, we're going to talk about Zafina. Can we put... It's time. It's time. It's time for Zafina to go in the bin. It's time. Alright. Who cares? She was big in Tekken 6. She was big in Tekken 6. She had a storyline in Tekken 6. Almost the entire storyline of Tekken 6 was kind of based around Zafina. Fair enough. Cool. What's she doing here? Nothing. Literally nothing. Sure, cool character with some cool moves. It's time for her to go. It's like, there's no need. The problem with Zafina. But like, there's just no need, right? I feel like put Mokujin in there instead of Zafina. Like, cool ass Tekken 6 character. Cool ass character from Tekken 6. You know? Loved by the community. Adored by the community. Mokujin. Zafina? Eh. You know? Next up. We gotta drop the Negan. We gotta drop him, right? Surely, chat. Surely you agree with me on this, chat. Like, chat, surely, right? I'll drop you in a sec. Square up. Okay. Like, surely it was just, oh, we have this character that can come in. Thank you for 12 viewers. This is probably the most viewers I've ever had on stream, by the way. But Negan is like, kind of, he's just there. Like, cool reveal. It was awesome. I like the reveal. It was amazing. It was cool. There's no need for him to be in Tekken 8. Just kind of a one-off thing that needs to be there, you know. Let's talk about Armor King. They're fine. They're fine. Like, King's there, you know. Armor King... It's like, sure. It's a character that exists, and you can play them if you want to. Fine, whatever. Like, literally do not care. I wouldn't be surprised if I saw them on the character screen. I wouldn't, you know. And I also wouldn't mind. I think Armor King's just fine. They can vibe, you know. Next up, Lei. Please come along to Tekken 8. Such a cool ass character. Such a cool character. About 15 stances. The amount of stuff you can do with a character is cool. People just don't want to play him in this game. Character's cool as hell. Hell yeah. Bring him in. Oops, all stances. You're completely right, Alex. I really like the character. I wanted to pocket the character. I wanted to learn this character. Such a cool character. Just the execution wasn't right here. I don't think the execution was right. Like, they've made his entire game plan, like, kind of work around Razor Rush. And it's just not right. It's just not right. Next up, Eliza. Bind. Doesn't need to be there. The only reason she's in there is for Claudio to have some semblance of a story. Doesn't fucking need to be here. No attachment to the character. The character's personality is boring as hell. Absolutely nothing, bro. Nothing. Doesn't need to be there. Doesn't need to. Next up, we're gonna have Julia. For me, if we're bringing Ganryu, we bring Julia. I absolutely love the interaction. I'm gonna put them next to each other. Like, the interaction between these two characters is the entire comedy relief of Tekken. I adore these two characters. Like, the interactions between these two characters in the game, brilliant. They've done it perfectly. Great execution. Love it. Love it, love it, love it, love it, love it. Let's go. Let's keep Julia in. Hell yeah. Has some cool mixes. She has some funky stuff. Like it. Let's go. Next up, Raven. Or Master Raven. Now, let me tell you why I'm putting her here. I don't want Master Raven. I want regular Raven. Bring me back old Raven. I want cool ass bold Raven. I'm not saying this is like... I really like the design of the character. Think it's cool. I want Raven with Master Raven's moveset. That's what I want. I want Raven with Master Raven's moveset. Because I'm more attached to Raven. Don't really care about Master Raven. I've looked at Raven's storyline throughout previous Tekkens. Master Raven, nah, don't really care. Give me Raven in Tekken 8 with Master Raven's kit. That's what I want. Cool as hell. Marduk. Whatever shall we do with you? Fine. They're a cool character. I think Marduk's such a cool character. Right? I think Marduk's... You think Bin because Grappler? I think Marduk's such a cool character. Right? I like the way he plays. I feel like... And he's a legacy character too. But... it's basically me seeing another one of this and another one of this on the roster. Whereas I've never heard before this stream. But yeah. I don't mind Marduk. I think like if Marduk had another cool ass release trailer in Tekken 8, yeah, sure, go for it. Because I was really excited when I knew Marduk was coming back. But how many people do you see playing Marduk? You know? Next up, we got to go for Claudio, right? If Claudio's in this game, like, if Eliza's not in Tekken 8, that's fine. I'm fine with Claudio. Like, Claudio's a cool character. I like the spin they put on Claudio. But I just don't want her there to supplement his storyline. I like him. I like him for himself. I don't need her there to supplement this guy's storyline. That's it. That's all I want. I just want Claudio to have his own thing instead of just being, oh, I'm going to try and kill this thing. That's it. Like, that's his entire story. Apart from that, cool character. Next up. come on up here. You're so cool. You're so cool. You're so cool. One of the coolest characters in the game. My man's out here throwing roses like... My man's saying, oh yeah, he oozes cool. Come on. Bring him up. All the way up. Come on, man. Hell yeah. Keep him as he is too. People are playing the character. People are enjoying the character. People think the character is cool. I enjoy playing against the character. Hell yeah. Come to Tekken 8. Next up, Anna. Sure. Come along. Come along. Anna, if we have this character in here, we need this character to supplement this character's storyline a little bit. Anna can come along. I like Anna. I would like them to give Anna a little bit of a different design. I don't really like Anna's design in this game. I like the movesets that Anna has. I like the mixes that Anna has. I just feel like her design is a little bit off for me in this one. I don't know why. I don't know why. Miguel, hell yeah. You're a funny, funny man. Miguel, come up here, man. Like, such a funny character. People play this character too. I think a ton of people play this character. And I really enjoy playing against the character. I think it's so cool. I think the character's really cool. That's just me. Like, you think it's better than a classic press? Fair enough. That's what you think, and you know, this is what I think. But like, it's fair enough. The raddest untrained character in a fighting game. Yeah, I like the fact he's untrained as well. Like, cool character. Really like it. And then Josie. Josie. Come along up here, girl. I really like Josie. Josie is a cool character. You seen the stuff that Pokchop was doing with Josie at the start of T7? Hell yeah. Cool character. Not many people are playing her, but cool character. Come up here. Like, I want her to be in the game. But let's say now, right, all of these characters were removed from the game. Let's just say that, right? Let's remove these guys. Let's have a look at this top row. That character screen looks so much better. It looks so much cleaner. Right? Surely. There's not as many characters. You have your classic legacy characters. You have some ones from Tekken 7. You like back in there. I really like it. This is what I want. This is what I want from Tekken 8. This is the roster I want. But Kiryu though. If Kiryu comes in, we're whacking Kiryu up there. Straight away. Anyway. I don't have a PNG of Kiryu, Alex. I'm using this on tiermaker.com. I can't put him up there. But Kiryu, if he was in the game, has to be in Tekken 8. Surely. Has to be in Tekken 8. But yeah. That's my Tekken 7 tier list. For removing some of the characters. One final thing for Tekken 7. I think. Less damage. All around. Just less damage. I really want less damage. You win in 2 neutral infractions. You win in 2 combos. You make 2 mistakes, dead. Like, it's not fun. Like, I don't enjoy just having to wait there until, you know, my opponent's combo is finished. Like, I don't like the amount of damage in this game. Lower the damage. I'm a happy boy. Give me sidestepping. Give me good sidesteppings. Removing some of the tracking moves so you actually have to think about tracking as an option. Like, give me less damage and remove some characters. I'm pretty happy with Tekken 8. I'm a pretty happy boy. So, let's move on to Strive, huh? I'm gonna put some Strive in the background so you can watch some Strive as I talk about some Strive. So, Strive, huh? So I'll ask the chat as well. How did you feel about the Strive beta? What I know is that I absolutely loved this Strive beta. I really enjoyed it. I really enjoyed the Strive beta. I enjoyed playing it with my housemates. I enjoyed playing it online. Felt like a really enjoyable like online collection. Enjoyed it. The characters, very much enjoy. Awesome. The characters like felt right to me as a Mei player. Like I felt really good about it. I really enjoyed the air dashing. I really enjoyed the way Roman cancels and burst work in this game. Like, I think it's also cool. You think the rounds are a bit short? Yeah. The damage is high, but I like that because it's Guilty Gear. Damage, I feel like I want damage to be high in Guilty Gear. I really want damage to be high in Guilty Gear. Because it's Guilty Gear, you know? It's supposed to be a quick, fast-paced fighter. I really like it. Loads of decisions within these really fractions of a second. That's some Guilty Gear right there, right? Let's talk about some other things, like let's talk about wall breaks. This is one of the things. I think wall breaks look super cool, but what do you give up for wall breaks? In a 2D fighter, you want that corner pressure, and having wall breaks in the game stops you from having that corner pressure. It just resets neutral, right? And so that's one core mechanic of like a 2D fighter that's almost kind of gone because you have these wall breaks. But another thing with it is that once you do wall break, you get positive, which means your tension increases faster, right? And the problem with that is, for me, if you're wall breaking, that means you're doing a combo in the corner, which means you're already doing a ton of damage, right? Add the fact that you've just done a ton of damage to the fact that you're getting more tension than your opponent, the game's a little bit snowballing. Like, you get a wall break, you know, your tension increases, and now it's just pretty much down to you to close out the round. If you do not close out the round after a wall break and your advantage, it's like, you know, like, it's at that point it's on you to close out the round, right? So I feel like it's, you know, interesting, but to be honest, it's also really weird. Because it turns it into a kind of snowbally-ish game, right? Next up, well, meta economy is insane in Strive. You're right. Damage in Guilty Gear hasn't necessarily been high. It's been a lot about Oki and enforcing very fast mix-ups, but still intact here. Yes, exactly. Wall, if you break with super, you get hard knockdown. So you also just get safe jump after wall break. Yeah, I want to talk about that as well. I really enjoy the combos in this game. They're short, they're sweet, they're high damage. Pretty cool. The jumps, the air dashing, they feel pretty nice. I really like them. That's just from a personal perspective. I like it. Yeah, I like the fact the game almost, like, your safe moves, like your punch and your kick, aren't really confirms anymore. They're more like these nice little poking tools. And then you have your slashes and your heavy slashes, which are the things you need to get into combos or do with combos, but they come associated with a lot of risk. And I kind of like that. So yeah. Heavy Mob stuff is probably top tier Guilty Gear. Soul players laugh at my statement. I know. But still. But yeah, my thoughts on Strive, really, really good. I really enjoyed the game. I'm really excited for it to release. And I'm really excited to see what other competitive scene has to offer for it. So yeah, Guilty Gear, awesome game. Next up, let's talk about Yu-Gi-Oh! Snowballing, game design, bad balance in the secondary market. And why Pokemon is currently a lot better at this. So, one thing I would never, ever want to be in the card game industry is be a card game designer or maker. I would do ban lists. I could be a community manager. I would never, ever want to make the game. Never. Because, personally, this is how it goes for Yu-Gi-Oh, right? Like, this is how I imagine Yu-Gi-Oh, like, got the place where it is, right? Like, let's say I build a card game, right? Card game comes with, like, 300 different cards. There's, like, 5 decks on release. Let's just say, right? I'm going to put on some TCG in the background so you can watch that while I'm talking about this. But basically, let's say I have 300 cards and I've built 5 decks for the game, right? As soon as it releases, within like maybe 3 or 4 days, people are gonna find out the most, like, the best deck, right? They're gonna find the best deck. And that best deck is going to consistently win tournaments, okay? And I'm going to be thinking, as the game designer, I'm going to be thinking, oh, so, you know, these tournaments only have had one winner. Like, this one deck has been winning all of the tournaments so far, right? And so, I probably need to do something to stop that. People are going to be, like, pretty bored of playing against this deck, and they're probably tired of it winning. So there's multiple actions I can go down. There's multiple routes. First route is make a really specific counter to the deck. So that would be, like, for example, having Light Imprisoning Mirror against Light Swarms. For example, it completely invalidates the whole deck. So it's going to be a really specific counter. But what happens then is now the second best deck in the game gets its chance to shine, and that's going to win all the tournaments. Because, you know, the best deck is now invalidated because people aren't going to play it anymore because they know people are going to play the counter. So the second best deck is going to come to prominence, and that's just going to keep winning all the tournaments. So that's not really going to work. Second thing is, I try and make, like, some sort of wider counter in general, right, for the deck. Well, not for the deck that's winning, but just in general, I'd try and make a mechanic that tries to invalidate what the best deck is doing. Unfortunately, what happens with that, if I make a specific trap card or spell card or something that can stop the main deck doing what it's doing, that also inadvertently affects some other decks that I may not want it to affect. And now I've completely changed the entire meta of the game. And I potentially don't want it to go that way. You know, why would I want to change the entire meta of the game that I've built around maybe trying to do burn damage instead of combos? Because now I've invalidated burn damage by making this one card that needs to be used in every single deck. It's now a combo game, and I didn't necessarily want it to be a combo game, you know? And then the third thing I can do, which is make stronger cards. I make stronger cards to beat the main deck. The best deck at the moment. Oh lord. And that's the worst option, and that's what Yu-Gi-Oh's doing. Because what they do is they made a better deck than the one that was originally the best. And now they're like, oh, everyone's playing this new, better deck. And now people are tired of seeing this new, better deck win, so now we need to beat build stronger cards to beat that better deck, and now better deck, and now better deck, and now better deck, and now better deck. Just better cards, better cards, better cards, better cards. And now it's really, really snowbally to the point where you can kill in one turn, which is where we're at now. Right? And it's kind of like, why? Power creep or rotation. Exactly. And that's something we're going to have a talk about a little bit later. But yeah, this is the place we're at Yu-Gi-Oh right now. And it's really upsetting, because what that means if you're trying to play on a budget is completely awful. I'm going to pause this really quick, and we're going to go into Yu-Gi-Oh Top Decks. So Yu-Gi-Oh Top Decks is a site that shows you the prices for the best decks and the most used decks that have been used in the past few tournaments. So let's have a look. Number 1, £454. Number 2, $617. Right? Sorry, dollars, not pounds. $454, $617, $553, $600, $800, $900 right here. Like, look at the price, right? The price of this game is atrocious. Like, if I'm going to be a competitive player of this game, right? Like, imagine you're a 12-year-old, you want to go competitive in this card game that you love so much. Right? Yeah, Shadol's a killer investment, yeah. But like, how would you know that? That 7 years ago, like, this is gonna happen. But, like, imagine you're 12 years old, and you're like, oh, cool, I want to go competitive in this game that I think I'm really good at. Let's see what the meta decks are. £500. Like, the average of these is probably around £500. Right? Exactly, Alex. $900 to bring a deck to the sweat house to lose rock, paper, scissors twice and then get kicked out of bracket. Exactly. But, like, £500. Let's say £500, right? We get out ban list pretty often. So, imagine you're 12 years old. £500 is a nutty investment. First of all, imagine all the pocket money you're going to have to save up for that one deck. Now let's see. 3 months later, bang, banned. The main core of your deck, gone. Reduced to rubble. Now you have to spend £500 again on getting a new deck. Like, imagine that. Imagine investing in this game to play professionally. And let me tell you something, you're not making your money back, because once the deck gets banned, the price goes down, because there's no use for the cards anymore. And guess what? Even if you win a few tournaments, you're not making your money back anyway, because guess what? Yu-Gi-Oh doesn't offer monetary prizes. It offers, oh, here's this really special deck mat you get, and here's this really special trophy you get. Guess what? The best you can do to sell for them online, probably like £100, £150. But you're not making the money back. The one issue I have with a game that would rather have a rotation instead of a ban list is that you can't use them past that point. Yeah, and we're going to talk about this later, Bandon, so stay tuned for that. But we're going to be talking about that. Yes, Alex, you're completely right. It's about Japanese gambling laws. And so it's really unfortunate. That 12-year-old that's looking to go pro, he can't, because he doesn't have the pocket money to do so. He's not going to make the money back in any way. Like, what can he do? So that's really snowbally, and the secondary market is an absolute pig stomp. Like, it's normally just 1 or 2 cards. Like, let's go see the invokes, right? I love this site because it shows you the high, low, and average prices of all of these cards. I'm just gonna highlight that for you. You like that? This is for a meta card that could potentially get banned. And then it's worth nothing. Now let's go on to why is Pokemon doing better. So recently on YouTube, you will have seen a ton of these videos. We pulled the 30,000 Pokemon card, Charizard, wow! You'll have seen a ton of these videos. £20,000 old Pokemon box. 500,000 Pokemon card, risking it all. Right? I made 74,000 opening first Team Edition Team Rocket booster packs. Right? You will have seen a ton of those videos coming up on your timeline. Why is that better? That's better because they're old cards. They're old cards. They're not being printed anymore. So they're a real commodity. They're 1996 cards that are still in good condition. It hypes into the nostalgia, and you can't use those cards anymore, so it's purely for recreational purposes. Great! Those cards deserve to be expensive. They deserve to be expensive. That's completely fine. I'm fine with those cards being expensive. Right? I'm so cool with that. And then you go and see the Pokemon meta, and their best deck is hitting max £200. Maximum £200. And you can see, and you can use that deck. You're not going to get hit by like an emergency ban list because Pokemon's rotation. You can at least use that deck for 5 packs ahead. Perfect. The old cards are expensive. The new cards are cheap enough that kids can still get into the competitive scene. This is what we want Yu-Gi-Oh! To be. But it's not. Because they fucked it up so badly by snowballing the game and making emergency ban lists. Awful. This is why I would never ever want to be a game designer of a trading card game. Because I know I would fuck up like this and see my community on Twitter absolutely bashing me day in, day out. I would never be able to do it. But yeah, that's that ticked off the list. Next up, let's talk about the big three. So, earlier on, a little bit ago, I saw this tweet by Team APS. Team APS, so it was about a week ago. If the top decks in Yu-Gi-Oh! Cost more than it takes to surpass a full rotation of a Pokemon deck, then it's telling. Literally that, Brandon. Literally that. But Team APS, absolutely amazing Yu-Gi-Oh! Content creators. They're very informative, they're very funny. If you're looking at, like, funny Yu-Gi-Oh! Content, informative Yu-Gi-Oh! Content, go check out Team APS, because they're really, really good. But I saw this tweet from them a while back. Yu-Gi-Oh! Magic and Pokemon have been the big three of trading card games for years. Other games come and go, but these games are the only ones to stand the test of time. Group discussion. What makes these games so special and why are they so hard to dethrone? And so, I really like this reply. This is the top reply. I feel like it's just nostalgia. The same reason why most players are older than the target audience. Maybe younger kids these days aren't into card games because there's just more technology to keep them entertained. That's the first thing. Younger kids probably aren't into like these TCGs or anything like that, or even kid-friendly marketing. You can do all you want to like market your new TCG to kids. They're probably not going to get into it because they can either like watch the anime or, you know, like play the game online somehow. So yeah, younger kids probably aren't into the TCGs these days, and that's completely fine. And that's why the older audience who grew up with Yu-Gi-Oh, Magic, Pokemon are still playing them. So that's completely fine. And so the other thing that Team APS said while they were talking about this is, I find a lot of card games have trouble creating a rule set that can't be best explained in terms of these existing card games. A more subtle difference is that these 3 games get some of the best card printing quality, although that's not always true. This is something I kind of disagree with right here. So, I think a lot of other card games have amazing rule sets. Like, absolutely amazing rule sets. Take Final Fantasy TCG, take Vanguard, take Keyforge, take Buddy Fight. Take some of these amazing card games, you know? When Yu-Gi-Oh was the big game at my locals, a lot of older audience was there. Now that Pokemon is more popular in terms of TCG, it's a very young demographic. Yes, because people are still playing Yu-Gi-Oh! Sorry, Pokemon, because Pokemon's still, in terms of things, originally a video game franchise. And people know Pokemon, so they get into the TCG. But, like I was saying, all these cool-ass card games with amazing rule sets, innovative rule sets, Keyforge, Buddy Fight, Vanguard, Final Fantasy TCG, have amazing rule sets, and I think Final Fantasy TCG has 1,000,000 times a better rule set than Yu-Gi-Oh! Why isn't there a community around it? The answer is, like we were talking about earlier, it's this older community. People that are trying to get into TCGs, when a new TCG is released, not many people are going to know about it apart from the pre-existing TCG community. And then the pre-existing TCG community probably don't have the cash to get into it because they're investing into their card game that they're playing right now. Subpanda 101, Buddy Fight. I love that game with the left and right sides. Yeah, exactly. And Cardfight Clans was so sexy. Exactly. So cool. Really cool card games. And there's some card games that I still want to get into. I'm looking at trying to get into Dice Masters. I'm looking to try and get into the Transformers card game. I'm looking to try and get into the Dragon Ball Super card game, which is getting a bit more popular. I want to get into the Digimon card game. Like, there's so many cool card games out there. For Final Fantasy TCG, which is the card game I probably want to play at locals the most, I only know 4 players. One of them being Brandon, who's in my house, and then 2 of them being a part of the Smash community. Like, I really love these card games, but I only have 4 people that I could potentially play with. So, the question. How do we build a community around smaller card games? Answer. I've done it myself. So, I'm quickly going to move to this face cam really quick, because I've got to get something up for you. I've got to get something up really quickly, and this is going to be really cringe. But I feel like you're going to like it. Here's a community I made earlier. Literally, here's a community I made earlier. So, this was a thing I ran at my school. TCG Tuesdays. Open to all. Tuesdays, lunchtime and after school. Any and all games accepted. Pokemon, Yu-Gi-Oh!, Vanguard, Magic, Buddy Fight, and more. Board games also accepted. Make new friends. Enjoy the games. You know, all this sort of stuff, right? This was a community I made in sixth form. As like something I wanted to put on, you know, on my CV, on like any kind of papers that I was trying to promote myself with. This community was awesome. You feel this from the bottom of your heart. Yeah, man. Thank you, Weebly. Thank you for the follow. Welcome to the Army of Death. Thank you so much. But yeah. TCG Tuesdays. What I did with this was that instead of just having, like a Yu-Gi-Oh! Every Wednesday and then a Pokemon every Thursday or whatever, like what I did was that I bought an entire bag or box. I literally had, like, let me grab it. Like, I bought an entire bag like this of like cards with me, right? I bought an entire bag filled with cards of tons of different card games, right? Filled to the brim. I bought 2 decks of every single card game. So I bought like 2 decks of Yu-Gi-Oh!, I bought 2 decks of Magic, 2 decks of Buddy Fight, 2 decks of Fun Fantasy, 2 decks of Pokemon, 2 decks of Vanguard, whatever. Right? And what happened was that the people who came originally to play or to learn Yu-Gi-Oh! Or to play Pokemon, they would see a ton of this other stuff in the bag. And I had one other friend I played Vanguard with. And so I made sure on like the first and second weeks especially, I played Vanguard with the person who knew how to play. And when they saw us playing, they immediately got a bit more interested towards it. Right? They got a bit more interested. And then they saw me playing Final Fantasy. Right? And then they got into that. Subpanner, Weiss Schwarz kind of kicks ass because it's all just based on different franchises, so it doesn't really have a rotational ban list, right? You are correct. You are correct. You're right. But like, back to this. People saw us playing the game while they were also playing other TCGs. And they saw the bag with a ton of, like, a million other TCGs. That's how they learned it wasn't just Yu-Gi-Oh! And Pokemon. And Magic, right? They saw me playing it. They saw me playing it, and they saw all of these colourful, different-looking cards that were in the bag. And so they started playing it as well. You know, they got interested. They saw us playing and they were like, oh, here we go. They saw us playing and they were like, oh, that looks pretty interesting. That's not a mechanic I've ever seen before. And so what happened in the end was that I had about, like 16 regulars. And then on a good day, I had maybe about 24 people. Like, I had about 16 regulars come to TCG Tuesdays after school and at Vakes. And because I did that, I bought a bunch of different card games for them to learn. Right? They all got interested. And then we made this community of not Yu-Gi-Oh! Players and of not Pokemon players, but of card game players. And I've been told by the librarian there that that community is still going strong and they're still playing a bunch of different card games and they're still introducing those card games to new people. That's amazing. Like, I can't wait to go back to my secondary school, like after school on a Tuesday, and see them running it. I can't wait. Genuinely, I want to do it. It's so exciting. I'm so happy that the guys are still playing card games and they're still playing all of these niche card games. I know one person that I really got into Final Fantasy TCG off of me just having the cards in the bag, him looking at them, and then saying, "Can you teach me how to play this?" And I was like, hell yes, let's play. And that guy's still playing Final Fantasy TCG. It's awesome. And I feel like that's what more community managers need to do. If you like TCGs, if you're a big advocate of TCGs, first of all, start your own local. It's not that hard. You can find a ton of places. There's so many places. It doesn't even need to be a big place, right? It can be a relatively small room. It could be after school in a teacher's room if they let you use it. It could be after school in the library. It could be like literally like in a community hall. Literally anywhere. Ask if you can use it. Sure, you may originally be into Yu-Gi-Oh! But because of Yu-Gi-Oh! You got into Hearthstone. And because of Hearthstone you got into Shadowverse. And because of Shadowverse you got into all of this other stuff. Right? Like, that's how you build a community. People will come for the Yu-Gi-Oh! And then you'll be like, oh, I play a ton of other card games as well. Would you like to try this? And people will want to try it because of your enthusiasm. You just need to be enthusiastic about it. Chilling out with a crew in the schoolyard. Literally, Brandon. That's what you need to do. Create a TCG community that plays a ton of different games. And with that, you can create almost a circuit. Like, it'll be so cool. The other reason that a lot of these don't have that a lot of these don't have as much rep, right, is because other card games communities like the PTCG, Yu-Gi-Oh! And MTG, they have like some sort of semblance of a world tour, right? Where you have the Yu-Gi-Oh! YCSs, you have the PTCG Nationals, and you have MTG's World Cup. They all have some sort of iteration of a world tour, and they all have some sort of online emulators. Whether that's PTCG Online, so Pokemon Online, MTG Arena, or Yu-Gi-Oh! Omega, which obviously isn't sponsored, but it's still Yu-Gi-Oh! Online. They all have like either some sort of competitive scene that the developer runs, and an online community. And that's what brings more people to it, I think, personally. And, you know, the reason that Vanguard or Buddy Fight or Keyforge doesn't really have that is because they don't really have that much of a community online. And it's unfortunate because I feel like if they did, then they would have a lot more say in the card game community. Because personally, I know Shadowverse, for example. Shadowverse is getting really, really big. Shadowverse is an online CCG. Really, really big game now. I really enjoy it. I think it's a pretty cool game. And I see more people online playing Shadowverse, and I see more people online playing Hearthstone than I do seeing people play, like, you know, some of these smaller card games, like, offline. So, like, if you're a smaller card game that's online, you're going to do better than a smaller card game that's offline. Just by virtue of being easier to, like, get cards and find a match with people. Like, because in real life, you have to go to the shop, you've got to buy cards, or you buy cards online, and then you've got to find somewhere you can play, and it's not going to be very likely because it's a smaller community. So, yeah. It could sense a change in the shift where people make an online CCG first and then turn it into a real card game because they've already built a community online. So that could be potentially a change in the shift of TCGs in general. And this can obviously apply to FGC games as well. Like I said, with Signature Move, me and the other SIG guys, Brandon and Alex and Warren, who are in the chat, and Penny, who's not in the chat right now, I don't think. We all built our own community because we found people who, you know, we all liked a certain thing. We all liked fighting games, and we were like, hey, why don't we build a fighting game local? Because we want other people to join in our fun, you know? We want a place we can meet and play, but also we want other people to join in this community as well and also have fun and find the joy in fighting games. So, like, it can obviously apply to FGC as well. Like, if you have a smaller game, like, for example, the Sailor Moon franchise, it's massive in Canada. The Sailor Moon fighting game is absolutely massive in Canada, and I think it's in New York where it's pretty big too. Like, huge community for Sailor Moon out there. For no reason. Like, for seemingly no reason. The only reason I can imagine it is that someone made a fighting game local for some recent games, probably like Street Fighter or Tekken or something, and then someone came in playing Sailor Moon, and people were like, hey, we love this. I accidentally closed the tab and come back to Sailor Moon. Well, I'm talking about how this can apply to FGC as well. So it's like, we built a community of fighting game players, right, Alex? And it's just like, for example, what I'm thinking is that, you know, Sailor Moon is a much smaller fighting game than Street Fighter or Tekken or whatever it is. And so we were talking about how smaller fighting games can get that recognition. So I was just thinking if, you know, some people build a fighting game local and it's for maybe some of these bigger games like Street Fighter and, you know, Tekken and whatever. And then someone just randomly comes down playing Sailor Moon, right? And the Sailor Moon scene is absolutely huge in Canada now because probably, I'm assuming, someone came down to their locals, started playing Sailor Moon, and people were like, oh hey, we absolutely adore this. We're going to play a ton of Sailor Moon now. And now Canada's like the Sailor Moon capital of the world. Like, absolutely nuts stuff. So yeah, this TCG community building can obviously apply to FGC communities as well, and that's a big thing. Next up, turn timers and game timers in TCGs. Right. Nah, it's just kind of realizing they're complete mess kits that will only partake in the finest blood sports. Probably. So, we're going to talk about turn timers and game timers in TCGs. So, earlier on today, I was having a conversation in a Discord, and the subject of this card came up. Right? Nozdormu the Eternal, it's a Hearthstone card. At the start of the game, if this is in both players' decks, turns are only 15 seconds long. And that got me kind of thinking, right? You know, this is really strange, but I kind of like it because it promotes quick thinking. It promotes planning your turn during your opponent's turn. It promotes the fact that, oh, if you want to play this way, we can both play this way. You know, you don't have to, but we both can. And, you know, I think it's really interesting. I think it's a really interesting card. I really like it. And what that got me thinking about was older Yu-Gi-Oh! So I'm quickly going to go back to the conversation we had. I'm not going to show the Discord, but I'm just going to read it out for you. Right. So I'm gonna find it. Counterpoint to turn timers. My jaws that bite, my claws that catch. Infinite Shadow Walk. Let's go. But we were just talking about this in the Discord, and so first of all, it reminded me of Final Countdown, which is a card which takes 20 turns, right? Which is a card which, within 20 turns, if the opponent doesn't win, the person that played Final Countdown automatically wins. And I kind of like that, because what it did is what it led to a couple of stall strategies. It led to people making misplays and, you know, certain things like that, because they were under pressure to win the game in a certain amount of time. But they had as much time as they wanted during their turn, so I don't understand why the misplay was there, you know. They could think as long as they wanted. It's pretty cool. I really enjoyed that. With this 15 seconds, there's obviously, I think Alex was saying in the Discord, there's like accessibility reasons, because obviously you play Hearthstone on phones, you play Hearthstone on a PC, and sometimes your equipment isn't fit to do Infinite Shudderwock. So not Infinite Shudderwock, sorry. Nozdormu, right? So you can just elect not to do it. Great. I like that. So what that led me to think about is competitive Yu-Gi-Oh! And the fact that there used to be a game timer in competitive Yu-Gi-Oh! So I think the games used to last about 30 minutes, and if the time was up within that 30 minutes, you immediately stopped the game on that phase. You didn't have a time to end the turn, you had to stop on that phase. And the meta became, oh, I need to get to my table early so I can get the seat that faces the clock, so I know how long I have left, so I know when to start stalling. And that was kind of dumb. I'm not gonna lie. That was kind of dumb. But that was also really interesting, because now people knew where they were on a time constraint. It led to a lot of other decks being viable. It led to, oh, do we play stall now? Do we do this? Do we do that? It led to a couple of other things, and I kind of liked that. And so, obviously, right now, what's happening is that in Yu-Gi-Oh! Especially, there's a massive rise of combo decks. And FTKs and OTKs are the big thing. Right? So I was just thinking, potentially a turn timer could help that. Because it seems like these days, no matter how many cards you have, how many hand traps or things to stop combos you have in your deck, you're still going to get hit by the combo, because it's going to loop into itself, right? And so that's really upsetting. So I was just thinking, maybe turn timers, maybe like a 1 minute turn timer. Because then what happens then is that the combo has to stop, because you have to end your turn within the time limit, right? Let me put this on for you again. You have to end your turn within the time limit. Yeah. You have to end your turn within the time limit, and that stops you from looping the combo over and over and over and over again, expending the opponent's hand traps until it works. So it stops. So it has to stop, and combo decks can no longer go brrr, right? Because with a combo deck, you don't think. The deck is the combo core, and the rest of the deck is search cards to find that combo starter. Right? So you literally, combo decks are made so you literally do not have to think. And that defeats the point of Yu-Gi-Oh! In my opinion, that defeats the point of playing a trading card game. The reason why I play a trading card game is I want to think ahead on what my opponent's doing and negate their win condition and try and get my own win condition. The thing is, I think that introducing a turn time is a brute force solution to an awfully balanced game. Sure, right? And I'm quickly going to talk about this really quick as well. But it wouldn't work. Introducing a turn timer wouldn't work in Yu-Gi-Oh! It's really unfortunate, but it just wouldn't work. Because it's just due to the nature to how much you have to talk in this game. So I'm going to RP this really quick, right? So I did this RP for the guys in the chat. Okay, good luck. Good luck. Okay, so turn 1, I summon and I activate this effect. Wait a second, thinking. Yep. Okay, go ahead. Now I'm going to search my deck and special summon and activate effect. Is that good to go through? Thinking. Yeah. Okay, now off that special summon I'm going to Synchro. Is that good? Thinking again. Yeah. But what's that one you're special summoning? What does it do? Okay, here's my effect. This is what it does, blah blah blah. Yeah, okay, you can go. Okay, so now I activate effect, and I'm going to special summon this from the graveyard. Go ahead. And now I'm going to loop this combo for 2 minutes. I'm going to play single player solitaire. What fun! And I'm going to activate effect for the game. A good game. Good game. Why? Right? Alex, it doesn't necessarily fix anything, it just hides the balance issues under it and introduces a whole nother layer of cheese because you can just think throughout their entire turn and waste it. This is why their real life is cringe and it's time to plug you into the Yu-Gi-Oh! Matrix. Yeah. But, this is the thing, right? Like I said, it wouldn't work because just by virtue of how much you have to talk in this game, the turn is over by main phase 1. Like, you saw how much I talked there? Like, by the third effect, the game is like, your turn has to end. So it doesn't really work, right? But also the other thing is that, like you said, Alex, it hides the issues of a poorly balanced game. And the reason why it's poorly balanced is because of this. Right? I despise combo decks. I despise OTKs and FTKs. Because, for me, it just means I have to think. I have to just put out hand trap at the right timing and hope that they don't have a loop. I have to hope they don't have a loop. I should never have to hope. Right? So, like, the reason why Yu-Gi-Oh! Is bad at this is because they don't listen to what the community wants in terms of a ban list. They ban willy-nilly. They ban random stuff. Like, take for example, Stratos. Yu-Gi-Oh! Is completely balanced. The ban list does its job perfectly. Please put sarcasm at the end of that, or else I don't know. But, yeah, I'm assuming you're being really sarcastic. It kills powerful cheap decks and encourages play to buy a new product. Yeah, you're right. You're completely right, there, Babamex. No, that's its purpose. Well, yeah, that as well. But also, they don't do a good job of making it. Like, just in general, they don't listen to the community, and the game isn't balanced for competitive purposes. True, actually, everything needs to be busted, or else only one thing wins. You're right. But, like, still. they don't do a good job at this ban list, in my opinion. And yeah, it's why I don't play competitive anymore. It's too much cash. I feel like I really don't enjoy the meta of, oh hey, here's my combo deck. Oh, let me find the right timing and I hope I have a hand trap. That said, I'd always much rather play a game with a ban list than a cycle out system. Funny you say that, because that's what we're going to be talking about next. So yeah, there's. I don't like the ban list and the way the game is played at the minute. Hopefully, I'll come back to like Yu-Gi-Oh, which I enjoy. Yeah, exactly, Alex. You're right. You're right. So, first of all, we're going to be talking about, before we get to the recap, we're going to be talking about the gap. Accessibility to TCGs and FGCs. There's a lot of people on Twitter, especially. I would say that's the main site. That are like, oh my god. We'll get to it, Brother Max. We'll get to it. Well, let's talk about FGCs first. There's a lot of people on Twitter, especially, I know that, like, fighting game too hard, right? No, I'm sorry. It's literally like anything else, right? It's like an instrument. You have to practice it and learn how to play it, and the more you practice it, the more difficult things you'll be able to do, and the more you'll be able to enjoy it. In my opinion. Like, I've played piano for what? Since I was 4 years old. And I've done up to, like, grade 5 on piano. And I enjoy it more than ever now, because I can look at a piece of music and I can sight read it. I can learn any piece of music that I want to learn. Like, I enjoy playing the piano a lot more. It's just practice. The main thing about getting them into that community is just having them have fun in the first place. I had my best friend, so like a while back, maybe a year or two ago, I can't remember exactly how long. Me and my best friend were at my house. He really enjoys shooters and racing games and things like that. And when he came in, I was playing Tekken. Right, came in, I was playing Tekken, and he was like, what's this? And I showed him the controls, and we just had fun playing with each other. It wasn't competitive, we just had fun, like, having a laugh and playing Tekken. If that first experience is really good, then people are gonna stick with it. Like, literally, my best friend now plays martial law, the same character that I main. He still plays Tekken to this day without me having to tell him to play Tekken. He just really enjoys playing the game of his own accord. And he introduced it to all his friends and ran a tournament at his school. All because one day he came in, saw me playing Tekken, asked how to play, and had a fun time. Like, it's just all about that. And now, he's almost better than me. Like, it's getting to the point where our games are almost 50-50 now. Because he's just been practicing and playing that much because he enjoys the game. Like, if you enjoy the game, you can do anything. Genuinely. If you enjoy a fighting game, you can do absolutely anything you want to. Look at Wheels. Man's out here playing KI, absolutely loves the franchise. He's in a wheelchair, and he's one of the top players. Look at him go. He can do absolutely anything, man. Reminds me of my friends who once spent half a year practicing Tekken 6, wanting to go competitive. I watched him give up hope when he lost to his housemate, who had no idea what she was doing, pressing triangle over and over. I mean, you know, things happen, right? And to be fair, Tekken 6, yeah, if his housemate was playing like, if his housemate was playing Bob, understandable, very understandable. But still, let's talk about TCGs now. Like you were saying, money, Revomex. The big thing is money. Let's have a look at this Yu-Gi-Oh! Top decks again. Let me reload the site because I don't want slash deck lists. Yu-Gi-Oh! Top decks. Look at the price for any of these meta decks. Say you're 12-year-old little Timmy, right? You know, he's playing the game off of his pocket money. He beats all his friends at school. He really enjoys Yu-Gi-Oh, right? Oh, you know, I'm going to play with my friends in this Dark Magician deck. You know? Nobody ever. Right, yeah. But look at 12-year-old little Timmy. He's working off his pocket money. He's playing the game. He's having fun with his friends. And he realizes, oh hey, I'm the best out of my group of friends and I really enjoy this game. I can think ahead. I can try and realize what my opponent's winning condition is. And I play the game very well in my own style. I really like Yu-Gi-Oh! Right? And so, you know what? Little Timmy is going to go to his very first YCS. With his cute little Dark Magician deck, huh? With his, like, little Dark Magician structure deck. He goes in there, sees a 27-year-old man with a £500 deck, gets OTK'd, and, goes back home to cry. Little Timmy, who thought he was good at the game, and technically he is. He's very good at the game. Little Timmy could be the best Yu-Gi-Oh! Player in the world, but doesn't have the money to stand up to the meta decks. Let's say little Timmy saves up enough money to buy one meta deck. The cheapest meta deck on the market. Let's say he's got enough money, he's saved up enough, just enough to buy his beast deck. Yeah, Monarch format is a really good case. You're right. Let's say little Timmy manages to save up enough to get his very first meta deck that has won a YCS. Okay, few months later, ban list hits. It hits his deck. Now the price of his cards go down because nobody's buying them because they're banned. And he's wasted, you know, he's wasted his cash. Like, how upsetting is that? Little Timmy desperately loves Yu-Gi-Oh! And wants to go competitive. Least fun match in the game because it's cheap. Everyone in the tournament is playing it. Exactly, yeah, Revomex, you're right. But look at poor little Timmy, right? No one enjoys the game, yeah. But, yeah, it's unfortunate, which is why when... Yeah, very weird timing you get. Which is why when I was in sixth form, I didn't encourage, like, any of this. What I did with TCG Tuesdays was, I brought a ton of structure decks. I brought a ton of Yu-Gi-Oh! Structure decks. Instead of, like, bringing a ton of meta decks, I just brought a ton of Yu-Gi-Oh! Structure decks. And people had a million times more fun. People had a ton more fun. They really enjoyed their time. They enjoyed playing against their opponents. Just picked up a random structure deck, played the game, see what they could do with it, and they had a ton of fun. And you know what? That community because the first time they played Yu-Gi-Oh! At TCG Tuesdays, they had fun, is still going today. I'm not there anymore, I don't run that. The TCG community, TCG Tuesdays community, is still running by itself. Because of their first experience, when I first made this poster and put it up all over school, I said, hey, please come, I'll teach you some fun card games, you'll make some friends, right? And because the first interaction they had with that card game was fun, they're still going strong today. The first interaction that they had with that card game was strong. They enjoyed the card game. They got themselves invested. They were like, oh, now I'm going to watch the anime. Now I'm going to do this. Now I'm going to do that. Amazing stuff. They're still going strong. Absolutely love it. I can't wait for one day I go back in maybe a year's time, and I go back to school on a Tuesday, just random time, and go see that community thriving. I can't wait to. Remember, the guys in Leicester have a great thing going. They run tournaments called Scrub League, with a self-regulated format that bans full archetypes. It's controlled by community-wide votes, and you can only take part in the vote if you've recently taken part in tournaments. Awesome stuff. Awesome stuff. That's great stuff right there. And it's all about building that community and making sure the first interaction they have with the game is fun. Because if they have the first interaction with the game is fun, they know how fun, no matter how bad it gets, they know how fun it can be. And they're going to stick with that. It's been really popular for years now. That's great. That's amazing. Good stuff. So our next thing. They're a very popular YouTube channel too, where they upload recorded games for these tournaments. Awesome, I'm going to check that out later. Oh, I'll do that. Awesome, thank you very much. The final thing on the agenda today. The TCG recap. The TCG versus recap. Mana versus no mana and banlist versus rotation. Another look a year later. So, ages ago. Quite a while back. I think it was probably a year ago. I'm just going to open another YouTube tab. I uploaded 2 videos called TCG Battles. Yeah, a year ago. There you go. Uploaded 2 videos called TCG Battles. And basically what happens in them is I talk about certain changes within TCGs. I talk about banlist versus rotation and mana versus no mana. And I wanted to look back at these 2 videos a year later and see if they still apply, because obviously they were recorded at the time. So let's have a watch of these 2 videos. It's going to be really cringe for me, but I want to have a watch of these 2 videos right now. Okay, let's see. So let's start off with banlist versus rotation, because that's my first one. Let's pause it. Let's pause the lo-fi hip hop. Ooh, it's really quiet. Sorry guys. Let me just turn up the sound for that, because it's really quiet up in here. Let me quickly turn that sound up. Okay.
Your boy 12 Could Be Death, also known as Daniel, and welcome back to another video. So today we're going to be talking about rotation versus ban list formats, and that's quite interesting. It's an interesting topic to talk about.
Kind of cringe.
Especially in modern day trading card games, because as you know, I play a number of trading card games, and they all.
It's me. Me. Hey, that's me a year ago. Can you believe it?
And with their own special formats. So for people who don't know or who don't play trading card games and just like my channel, a ban list is when a trader
True,
of a
he
game
would be terrible at
creates
poker. He would.
a list of cards that they deem too powerful to be used in competitive play.
Oh shit.
And that
I actually left
list
my phone on.
is
Nuts.
practically what's used in the competitive scene. So
I
for
literally
example,
cannot speak in
Yu-Gi-Oh!
concise sentences, and I'm repeating myself.
Has a ban list.
Fucking awful.
So normally every single card in the
Atrocious.
game you could use on 3 copies in your deck.
I've grown so much
Then
from...
there are some special cards which you can only
Yeah, I would
use
be,
2
wouldn't
of them
I?
in your deck, which are semi-limited. There are cards which
I would be. I've grown so much from what was a year ago. I've grown so much. Look at the fucking beard, bro. It wasn't there. It wasn't there, bro. Yeah, I want to redo the video. But I wanted to watch these to see if they still apply. So I'm going to watch them the way
you
through.
can only use 1 of in your deck, which are just limited. And then you have straight out banned cards which you're not allowed to.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I can't follow what young me is saying. Exactly. I was so awful at this a year ago. I was so fucking nervous, bro. I was so nervous.
Use at all. So for example, cards like Exodia, you're only allowed 1 copy of each part of Exodia in your deck. Because if you had more than 1 copy of each part of Exodia in your deck, it would be more likely that you would get Exodia and you would win
Exodia
the game
obliterate.
very, very quickly, per se. There'd be a lot more decks based around Exodia play if there were more than 1 part per deck. So
I feel like I'm not explaining it very well, and I'd rather just do it again here because I feel like I'm trying to explain a ban list. I feel like I'm trying to explain a ban list. Lord, it's cringe. But basically, I made these 2 videos a year ago. And so first of all, we'll start off with ban list versus rotation, right? Oh, let me turn the music back on. And let's turn the sound down. There we go. Right. So, in terms of ban list versus rotation, idea, remove 1 card limit. New deck archetype organ market is all Exodia pieces, all Exodia pieces. Lord Alex, okay. So, about ban list versus rotations. So, ban lists can be quite good because what happens with ban lists is that if a card is too powerful, there can immediately be an emergency ban list made that says, no, let's get rid of this straight away, we don't want it anymore. And what the ban list can also do is listen to community outcry. So a lot of developers don't listen to community outcry, but some do. And because of that, the ban list can be really cool. The ban list can change the flow of the game. It can change the flow of the game from a burn game to a combo game to a stall game. Like, it depends on what the players want. And that's pretty cool. That's pretty good for ban lists. I like that. You know? That's a good thing about a ban list. Unfortunately, with a ban list, a meta might never end. Because the developers choose not to ban a card. That's one of the bad things. Potentially, if a deck keeps winning tournaments and you're tired of seeing that card, you may be able to shout as loud as you want, for as long as you want. You know, their card may still not be banned. Take a look at Firewall Dragon, or what happened with Firewall Dragon. Right? Look at what happened with that. We were people were crying out for a Firewall Dragon ban. Crying out. It was almost every day on Yu-Gi-Oh! Twitter. Crying out. Firewall Dragon ban, Firewall Dragon ban, Firewall Dragon ban. It didn't happen for ages. So that's one of the things that can be really bad about this Firewall Dragon, like about this ban list kind of thing, right? It was new and it was making money, right? But that's one of the bad things. It can't. They will never ban a chase card. Yeah, but that's I would still say that's one of the bad things. It's like, you know, community members can cry out for all they want, but it still might not get banned. How long did it take for Tour Guide to get limited? I actually have no idea. I wouldn't be able to tell you. I actually don't know. Let's move on to talk about a little bit of rotation. Rotation. So this is where you play in sets, kind of. So every single time that developer releases a new set of cards, then that's added to a list, kind of thing, right? So say you're allowed 5 sets, which is I think what Pokemon does. I think Pokemon is 5 sets. So you're allowed to use the latest set and 4 sets that came before it. However, when the next set comes, the last one in that list of sets then gets pushed out of the meta. So what's good about that is that if there's a deck that's meta, but there's been a ton of sets coming out, then you know that pretty soon that deck will not be able to be played anymore. Because obviously that deck comes from the last set in the list, and so it's going to get pushed out soon. So that's good. It keeps the game new and fresh and exciting, and what it does is that, you know, every so often you're going to have Pokemon is the worst example of cycling. Well, I'm just using it as like an example, right? What happens is that you at least get to see new decks. You know, at least every so often you'll see a new deck at the top, right? You'll see new strategies and you'll see new styles of play, at the very least. You know, you're not going to have to wait for the developer to put it on the ban list, which might not happen for a while. You know, at least that maybe in a little while that set's going to go out of the rotation and you're going to see some new cool things. Unfortunately, with cycling, it means that if a new set releases and that there's a powerful card in it, then you're going to have to stay with that like really powerful card for a really long time, because you don't know how quickly they're going to be releasing sets. So you're going to have to stay with that powerful card for a while, right? So that's a little bit of that sort of thing, you know. And I'm just thinking, you know, or the point that I eventually got to in that year-old video, as you could tell, my speaking was not very good in. The point I eventually got to was that Power Creep is worse in a cycle system than it is in a ban list for some reason. Yeah, it kind of is, you're right. But the point I was getting to is that we could potentially have a bit of both. We could have the Pokemon 5 cycle system, but, you know, we can have the Pokemon 5 cycle system, which means every so often the game changes, so there's a completely new meta deck, but also if there's a really, really, really super powerful card, that can be put on an emergency ban list. So you can run a bit of both. I'm not sure if it would work, but potentially that's something that I would like to see someone try, because it keeps new decks flowing in and out, and if there's a really, really powerful deck, then that can be put on an emergency ban list. I think that's really good. I think it could potentially be a good idea. And I would like to see people try it. I would like to see a developer try it. Not one of an existing card game, obviously, but one of a new card game. You know, I would like to see it happen. And let me know how you feel about that idea in the chat, because I, if it doesn't work, it doesn't work, sure, but I would like to maybe see it happen. I still don't like the idea of decks becoming worthless when they cycle out. That's fair, but some decks also become worthless as soon as one card is put on the ban list. You know? As soon as some kind of like, some of the cards, the main card of a deck might get put on a ban list, that can drop in value massively, you know? I have a Yu-Gi-Oh deck from over 10 years ago that I can play. That's fair enough. That's cool. But like some decks do have that where, you know, if one card is put on the ban list, it's gone, you know? So there are some decks like that, and there are some decks like yours, Romanex. I think Shadows are a good example of it. Shadows, like, imagine 7 years ago having Shadows, and then now you can still play Shadows pretty meta. It's pretty fun. The meta Pokemon deck I had in 2010 was worthless a year later. That's fair. But also I wanted to talk about, finally, mana versus no mana. Pokemon turned me against cycling hard. That's fair. So mana versus no mana. And what I talk about when I talk about mana is like Hearthstone mana. So like kind of like getting 1 mana a turn, or like Shadowverse, if you've ever played Shadowverse, getting 1 mana a turn up to maybe 10 sort of thing. Or even, you know, Magic with lands, you know, that sort of thing, right? Yeah, boy, let's talk FFTCG. This is kind of my shell point, a little bit of a shell point for FFTCG, but there are games like Yu-Gi-Oh, which obviously don't have mana, right? What mana, for me, the point of mana is to control a pace of a game, right? The point of it, especially in games like Hearthstone, is that land is the single worst mechanic in any game I've ever played, and no other mechanic has brought me such misery. Fair enough. But practically, in games like Hearthstone, what I think it does is it's trying to dictate the pace of the game. So, yeah, mana systems are designed to stop you spamming your hand and allow the game to build up. You're completely right, Max. And what happens is that you have your weak monsters that are just starting out with your 1 land and so on. And then in your sort of mid-range, like your 6 to 5 kind of mana, you can do like kind of little combo-ish type things. And then when you get to your 10 and 9 mana, you can send out your boss monsters. Vomex, but it's not the only way to achieve that. You're right. So one good thing about them is that, like we're saying, is that they do kind of try and control the pace of that game pretty well. They do it well, and it's kind of effective, in a sense. But what I think mana systems do is they don't really allow for a lot of freedom. Like, say I have a hand where I see a combo. I see a combo in that hand, and you know, there's a certain mana requirement to do it. But I don't have that mana. Do I have to like wait for 3 turns to use this Build-A-Bear combo that I've just discovered? Like, I want to play this Build-A-Bear combo now. You know? I wanna do this really cool combo now. Why should I have to wait for it, you know? And that also makes me upset because the opponent who might be playing the game like, oh, I can summon this 1 mana hero, and I'm just sitting here taking damage for 3 turns until I can pull off the one cool combo I've discovered. And it may not even be that effective, but I just want to do a cool-ass combo, you know? And that's kind of upsetting. But also, like you're saying, Vevomex, bricks. What if you get a handful of really high mana cost cards that you can't use? You know? In the first few turns of the game, and you can't use those cards. What else can you do? It's really upsetting. And that's like a pretty negative part of like these mana systems that you find in Shadowverse or Magic or even, you know, like Hearthstone, right? So that's a kind of a little disadvantage of those kind of things. And then you have the other side, which is having completely no mana, like we see right here in Yu-Gi-Oh! Sure, there's a system in place to stop you from spam summoning, which is you can only do one normal summon per turn, but because of effects, it gives you almost too much freedom. There's almost too much you can do now. And I'm not saying, oh, players stop being creative with the game, but you discard your monsters to play your backup. That's what you do. But this is almost, Yu-Gi-Oh! Almost gives you too much freedom. Because just with the effects that you have, look where we've come. We've gotten to the point where one-turn kills are pretty prominent. Yu-Gi-Oh! Had to make hand traps to be able to stop those OTKs and FTKs. They had to create Ash Blossom, and we had to utilize Effect Veiler. Effect Veiler and Ash Blossom have to be in almost every deck. You know? So there's almost too much freedom in that system where you don't have any mana and you can't control the pace of the game. Because now, if you can't control the pace of the game, stuff like this is going to happen where you have those OTKs and FTKs. You know? Things did get slightly out of hand. And so it's a completely different style of system. And so what I really want to talk about here is stuff like Final Fantasy's TCG system. So in Final Fantasy, I think it has probably the best system in the entirety of TCGs. Genuinely, I feel like its system is so strong. I wish more, like, devs or card game developers would do something like Final Fantasy TCG is doing. Absolutely love it. It's amazing. And one more thing, like, I would also like to see people do is stuff like Vanguard. Because Vanguard, there's no restrictions on summons. Well, you summon 6, but that's because that's how many zones there are. Yeah, the biggest problem is that no one plays it. But, like Vanguard, you have 6 zones, and you can use all of those 6 zones, so you can summon cards into all of those 6 zones, so there's no restriction on summoning. But to dictate the pace of the game, what they do is they have braids. And it's like an evolution in Pokemon. You can evolve once per turn. Right? And so that's what dictates the pace of that game. You still have summoning, and you can summon as many times as you want, and do a ton of crazy combos because you've summoned a ton of cards to the field, but you're still dictating the pace of the game, because you can only evolve once per turn. Or what it's called in Vanguard is ride. You can only ride once per turn. And so that dictates the pace of the game really nicely. Because you go back and forth riding, but you also have the freedom to explore a ton of combos. So you still get your really strong monsters at the end, and you still get your really strong, like, weak monsters at the start. But there, you still have the freedom to create combos within those restrictions. So it's really good. Keyforge is worth mentioning too. You're completely right. I absolutely love Keyforge, and I wish I had more people to play it with. Great game, and Keyforge has a really good system too, where the objective is not reducing opponent's life, but it's almost trying to play for yourself, which is commentator Dan coming clutch once again. But it's almost trying to play for yourself. It's trying to not make the opponent lose, but make you win. And that's what I really like about Keyforge. P-John plays Keyforge. I wasn't told P-John plays Keyforge. I'm asking P-John for games as soon as we get back to locals, huh? Let's go. But yeah, Keyforge is another great one worth mentioning. It gives you that freedom to do cool combos and things like that. But there's still a couple of restrictions in the game, and the game is really balanced as well. I really do like Keyforge. Keyforge is a pretty balanced game. P-John is unbelievably based. How does he do it? Me and Corver taught him. Huh, nice. But yeah, this was the first kind of like episode of Daniel Talks. I really hope you enjoyed Daniel Talks, because I enjoyed doing it and explaining all of my things that I wanted to talk about. So just to wrap up, what we've learned today is that P-John is unbelievably based. That's what we've learned today. So today we've learned my wishes for Tekken 8. Strive is really, really good. The Yu-Gi-Oh! Secondary market and why Pokemon is doing a little bit better, in my opinion. The big three and how they're potentially overlooked. Forging communities and turn timers. Forging communities. And finally, mana versus no mana and ban list versus rotation. So thank you guys for coming by Dan Talks episode 1. This is probably my most viewed stream yet. It's absolutely amazing. Thank you all so much for coming by. It's literally my most viewed stream. So I will be doing more of these because you guys clearly enjoyed it. I'll be planning some categories for what I want to do in episode 2. And if you want to pitch some categories to me, you can feel free to follow me on the Twitter at Jacobian Pereira, and you can send me some categories. You can send me some categories for the next Dan Talks. So, again, thank you so much for watching. Thank you for enjoying the discussion. And thank you all for coming by the Army of Death. Stand down, recruits, and I'll see you next time. Bye-bye.